Angie spends a magical night behind a mask with the wealthy celebrity, Nicolaus. As he searches for this mystery woman, Angie's evil cousin, Candace, tries to win him over. Angie wakes up early and starts baking. Her cousin, Candace, thinks Angie is always badly groomed. Candace has no intention to pitch in with their business. Her dad, Otto, has allowed her to buy her own Christmas presents this year. She refuses to drop the cookies on her way. She feels Angie is stupid for obsessing over sentimental details. Angie feels it's their job as event planners to create a magical experience. Candace hopes this attracts a rich bachelor for her. Otto has told Angie she can choose her present this year. Angie is considering buying out the event planning business from him. She claims she can afford it with the savings her parents left her. She plans to ask him at dinner and hopes for support from Candace. Angie's colleagues, Laura and Robin, feel she's too nice. They ask if Angie has a backup plan if Candace doesn't support her. Angie has decided she will thank Otto for supporting her when her parents passed away. She knows Otto wants her and Candace to work together, but she can't keep letting Candace take credit for not working. Her friends feel she should highlight how the Christ Masquerade Ball, which was her idea, is breaking the internet. They ask her to still be careful around Candace because she can be very nasty. Otto claims he's proud of what both the girls have done with his catering business. He is retiring that year, and Candace has convinced him to let both of them handle all his businesses. Angie tries to make her point, but Candace takes her to the kitchen. Candace thinks she did Angie a favor by letting her be a part of 4 businesses. Angie clarifies that she wanted the event planning business all to herself. Candace feels Angie should buy her out instead of her dad. She wants Angie to continue working and do extra errands for whatever she wants. She feels Angie only has to serve her till she marries a rich bachelor, after which Angie can take over the business. Candace claims Otto will get offended if Angie tries to protest his wish. Angie agrees and brings some supplies for the Christ Masquerade Ball to Nicholas Carmichael's mansion. Candace hopes to live in a place like this and marry someone as wealthy as Nicholas. She thinks the game Angie suggested is stupid and thinks Nicholas might fire them for it. When Nicholas asks about the preparations, Candace takes over and claims all Angie's brilliant ideas are hers. Nicholas is impressed, especially with the game Candace hated. He flirts back with Candace and invites her as a guest to the ball. Candace starts imagining her future with Nicholas. She asks for Angie's help to prepare for the ball. Angie has more work as the organizer, but Candace reminds her of their deal. Nicholas' mother, Victoria, keeps getting updates about his life from tabloids. His last girlfriend was also dating him for his money, and he ends up looking like the bad guy. He asks Victoria if she read his proposal for gender equality in the workplace. She doesn't trust his work ethic and feels like he's trying to attract more women for pleasure. She offers to consider his work proposal if he gets married. His father has left him a huge inheritance that can only be claimed if he marries. Nicholas prefers getting a paycheck and respect than marrying someone he doesn't love. Nicholas is frustrated as he jogs with his best friend and personal assistant, Max. He's tired of all the public breakups and his mother not taking him seriously. Max thinks Nicholas keeps dating wrong women all the time. Nicholas thinks he would just know when he finds the right one. Max knows it's because a lot of gorgeous women who are after his money keep throwing himself at him. Max feels the woman of Nicholas' dreams, who is not superficial, might be deeper in the crowd. Nicholas bumps into Angie while she's working. She assures him everything is set for the party. Angie finds Zelda at the dress shop, who has made a custom dress and a matching stocking just for her. She has seen Angie in the neighborhood and has observed her going to the cemetery too. She claims Angie inspired her to make this dress because she seems to wear a mask to prevent people from seeing how special she is. She forces her to try it on, and Angie feels magical in it. But Angie keeps insisting the dress is for Candace. Angie is with the stylist because Candace hasn't turned up for her appointment. Candace has had an allergic reaction to the diamond facial and blames Angie for it. Angie reminds her that Candace recommended their number. Candace still blames Angie because she can't go to the ball. The stylist reminds Angie that she paid in advance, so she should get her hair done instead. Angie feels there's no harm and gets ready for the ball. Candace also assumes that Angie must have taken her place. She accuses Angie of spoiling her face on purpose. Candace reminds her their deal will be off if anyone sees her at the ball. Angie promises she will be behind the scenes helping the crew. Angie knows no one can recognize her in the mask and decides to go to the ball. She finds people discussing how they love this party. Max asks everyone to participate in the stocking game. He claims if 2 people pick out each other's stockings with 5 personal items, they will have a match. A grand prize will then be announced at midnight. Angie chooses one stocking that appeals to her. Nicholas approaches her because he couldn't help noticing her. He has chosen her stocking because it matches her dress. Angie chose his stocking because it's old and she feels it has seen a lot of Christmases. Nicholas asks her for a dance, and they both don't recognize each other from behind their masks. Nicholas pretends to be an anonymous person when he feels like Angie doesn't the real him. She loves Christmas and is fascinated by what can be found inside a stocking. She claims she knows nothing about jewelry and hasn't even thought about her wedding. She feels she will know when she finds the right person, just like Nicholas feels too. Nicholas discusses how his mom doesn't take him seriously. Angie understands him and claims she's in business with someone who only likes credit. She knows she would be upset if someone thinks she only does work for the rewards. She also understands that Nicholas wants his ideas to get acknowledged. He really likes her and wants to get to know her better. He's about to kiss her, but Max asks all the participants to come forward for the reward. Angie panics since it's almost midnight, and when she learns they will have to take their masks off for the reward, she feels bad for getting caught up in the moment and feels she won't fit in once she takes the mask off. He tries to kiss her again, but Angie runs away when there's another reminder from Max. Zelda is glad to see her in the dress, but Angie is in a hurry to leave. Zelda asks if she's sure about going back to her old life, and Angie knows she has to. She runs to her car and changes into her uniform. Lara and Robin think she's missing the party and have heard that Otto is retiring. Angie claims the business is almost hers, and they all celebrate getting rid of Candace. Angie watches behind closed doors as Max announces that one half of the match is missing. He asks if anyone has seen the woman whose dress matches the stocking. She gets a call from Candace, who believes Angie has been in the kitchen. Angie discusses with her bunny, Jenny, how she had an amazing time last night. She decides to go through his stockings to see the 5 items. She first finds a broken watch and thinks he's very mysterious. The Rock assures her that he likes the outdoors, while the scented candle makes him seem homely. She feels the gum should have a particular reference. And the last item is a t-shirt from the Hot Peppers contest he participated in. She feels like he is perfect and hopes she finds him. Nicholas is checking people off his list after he called them pretending to be Max. He had them describe what was in their stockings, and none of it matched. He remembers that the woman mentioned she doesn't fit in, so he wonders if she was invited indirectly. He asks Max for a list of all the workers, but he claims it's with the event planners cleaning up downstairs. Candace wants to look around the house for Nicholas. She worked extra hard all night to make her face look normal again. Angie bumps into Nicholas while cleaning up, and he wonders if they have met before. She claims she was at the ball with the cleanup crew after midnight, but she explains they have met before with Candace. Nicholas gets excited about Candace being the mystery woman and goes to find her. He asks why she abandoned him, but learns that she was not there because of an allergic reaction. Max thinks Nicholas likes the mystery woman because she ran off and he can't have her. Nicholas is sure he wants to marry this woman and gets an idea of how to find her. Candace informs Angie that Nicholas has booked them again for Christmas Eve to plan his wedding to some mystery woman. Candace is upset she didn't go to the ball and lost her chance. She sends Angie a link so she can prepare ideas for him in the morning. Angie realizes Nicholas is the man she danced with last night. He has her stocking and claims he's looking for this mystery woman to marry her on Christmas Eve. He claims he's in love with her and is sure she reciprocates. Angie wonders how a party man from the tabloids can be the same one who was so nice to her. She knows she can't admit to Candace that she went to the ball because she will lose the business. She still wants to make sure he is the kind of man she wants before she reveals herself. Nicholas mistakes Angie for one of the women seeking him out. She clarifies that she's planning his wedding. He doesn't remember her and only knows about Candace. She asks how he knows the mystery woman is the love of his life after spending a few hours with her. He claims he knows because no woman has ever stood out to him like that. Angie taunts him for not remembering some women at all. He thinks she's very rude, but she offers to start planning the wedding. He claims the woman he met was beautiful, confident, and someone who truly understands him. He knows she loves Christmas, so he wants to plan a classic Christmas-themed wedding. She wonders what will happen if he doesn't find her, or doesn't recognize her when she's in front of him. He is sure he will find her, because he thinks every woman wants to marry him. Angie claims she's trying to know the mindset of the couple to give them the best wedding possible. He trusts Angie's judgment because he loved the ball. He asks her to leave some sketches he can approve. He hopes they won't see each other much because he can tell she doesn't like being in his company too. Angie wonders how she can plan her own wedding without wanting to attend it. Candace asks about their meeting and wonders if Nicholas has found the mystery woman yet. She thinks she has a shot if he hasn't. And even Angie thinks they're perfect for each other. Candace wants to return her dress from the ball, but realizes it looks familiar. A picture of this dress is on the internet, since someone from the party clicked it. No one could see her face, but Candace is sure it matches the stocking. Angie is forced to admit she went to the ball, but Candace is surprisingly happy about it. She thinks it's a Christmas miracle. She plans to use Angie to convince Nicholas that she is the mystery woman. Angie doesn't want to deceive him, but Candace reminds her that the whole business could be hers. Angie asks Jenny to not judge her for helping Candace. She feels if Nicholas can't see past someone like Candace, then they deserve each other. Nicholas finds Angie working and decides to help her. He claims he remembers talking to her earlier, especially when she told him she worked after midnight. He points out how the mystery woman disappeared around midnight. She reminds him he ruled her out as a candidate because she doesn't like him. He admits that he likes her and thinks she likes him too. When Candace interrupts them, Angie informs Nicholas that she is the mystery woman. Nicholas is confused because Candace told him she wasn't at the ball. Angie has prepared her, so Candace knows her answers. Candace claims she was afraid of losing business with him, which is why she didn't want to admit she was there. She disappeared because she had to get back to the kitchen and claims she takes her work seriously. She also pretends she was nervous to reveal her identity, even after he announced that he was the man who danced with her. She flirts with him, and Angie watches the news announcing that Nicholas is officially taken. Victoria has seen the news too, and Nicholas introduces them. He explains he found Candace after he made a video announcing his intention. He proudly informs her that Candace owns an event planning business. Victoria is suspicious of Candace, especially when she mentions she wants to hand over her business to her underprivileged cousin. She explains that Angie's parents passed away when she was 6. She wants to apparently share her good fortune and let Angie have the business. Victoria is disappointed because she was expecting him to find someone special. She feels Candace is like all his other girlfriends. Angie overhears as Victoria asks him to grow up and not marry just anyone to claim his inheritance. She asks him to find someone who makes him see what's truly important in life. Nicholas tries to explain what Angie overheard, but she claims he doesn't need to justify anything to her. Laura and Robin are sure Candace was not at the ball, and she's robbing another girl of a jackpot marriage. Angie thinks if she convinces Nicholas that it's Candace, she can have the business to herself. Her friends wonder how Angie can convince him and realize she is the mystery woman. She admits it, and her friends think she is ruining Nicholas' life by letting him marry Candace. Angie remembers the guy she met was sweet and charming, but Nicholas seems to have his own agenda. Max and Nicholas show Candace some engagement ring options, but she doesn't seem impressed. She has a very specific demand of the kind of ring she wants. Nicholas is confused because he thought she didn't know much about jewelry. He reminds her about what she told him at the ball. Candace claims to know what he's talking about and asks him to propose properly on video. Candace asks for Angie's help because she feels Nicholas suspects her. She wants them to use earpieces so Angie can guide her about what to say. Angie thinks it's weird Candace is willing to pretend to be someone else. Candace is in it for the money and doesn't think of that as a deal breaker. Nicholas brings Candace to the place where they almost shared their first kiss at the ball. She was hoping for a nice restaurant, but he thinks this is more meaningful. Angie listens to everything and guides Candace about why they're there. When he bends down on one knee, Candace takes out a selfie stick. He goes along with that, and Nicholas admits he fell for her in a sea of masks. He thinks she's smart and humorous and really understands him. He wants to feel the way he fell at the ball for the rest of his life. He is about to ask her to marry him, but she interrupts him for a better shot. She throws the ring in the pond in excitement and claims she wants a new one. She asks Angie about the dinner she promised to cook for Nicholas. She asks Angie to make them well so she can take credit for them. She joins Nicholas for wine and claims the puffs are almost ready. He's surprised by how effortless she makes everything seem. He has noticed how Angie is always sweating and her hair is sticking out. Candace feels she is a mess, but Nicholas thinks Angie looks cute when she gets frazzled. He also doesn't feel she's the kind of person who takes credit for someone else's work. Angie asks Candace to quote Oscar Wilde about forgiving one's own relations. This makes Nicholas feel like she is the mystery woman. Candace asks him to forget about the ball and tries to kiss him. He feels she's different in real life, so Angie guides her about what to say next. But Candace wants to discuss their honeymoon destinations. He suggests discussing the items in his stocking and wants to hear what she thinks of them. Candace repeats the significance of all the things, and he is certain she is the one. Nicholas claims he felt proud of Hot Pepper t-shirt because it was his own achievement. The Spearhead gum was there because it's the first product he packaged and supervised. When Angie mentions a stone, Candace assumes it was a gem. Nicholas clarifies that it was a rock from Greece, from the first trip he took by himself overseas. Candace feels it's the right time to mention a Greek salad for their reception, which confuses him. He asks if she needs to check the kitchen, but Candace jumps on him and starts kissing him. Nicholas starts spending more time with Angie and Candace and feels he can be more himself with Angie. She is always at work, but he notices how bad Candace is when she pretends to take over. He finds Angie fixing the decorations for the wedding and asks about the sketches. She somehow knew his favorite spot, and she claims it was luck. He asks what Greece makes her think of. He's impressed that instead of a Greek salad, she thinks about mythology and the ocean. Nicholas feels conflicted and informs her about the inheritance. He explains that his parents put that clause in his trust when he was very young. He could have claimed it earlier, but he doesn't want to get it by marrying the wrong person. He admits he is having second thoughts about Candace. He thinks Candace seems different from the woman he met at the ball. Angie reminds him Candace has proven it, but Nicholas is wishing Candace is not his true love. He looks at Angie when he claims he's still in love, but not with Candace. They get close enough to kiss, but hear Candace calling out to him. Angie wants to confess everything to Nicholas, since she feels bad about lying to him. Candace asks Angie to play along if she still wants to have Nicholas as a friend in her life. She thinks Nicholas will ditch them both if he learns of the truth. Nicholas discusses his doubts with Max and feels like Angie was the one he met at the ball. He's sure it's not Candace and thinks her stalking can help them figure it out. He finds Oscar Wilde's quotes, which both of them have used. The pencils and a picture of Jenny don't help him either. He feels he can work with the matches and heads over to the restaurant. The receptionist informs him they're an international restaurant, just like Angie visits all the time. Nicholas is sure Candace would never go to a place like this. He notices the dress at Zelda's shops and heads over to ask about it. Zelda explains that one woman came to pick it up and another returned it. She saw the woman who picked it up wearing it at the ball. She knows the one who returned it is Nicholas' fiancée, so he is now sure Candace was not the mystery woman. She mentions the cemetery, so Nicholas is sure it must be Angie. He buys the dress and realizes the rose from the stocking is from her parents' grave. He asks Candace to explain the meaning of the items in her stocking. She gets awkward and calls Jenny a ferret instead of a bunny. He points out how her stories don't match and asks her to sketch something for him. Candace claims she was so busy with the ball that she asked Angie to fill her stocking. She assures him it was her at the ball. He asks her to wear the dress she returned, and Angie watches as Nicholas insists that she should show it to him from the back. The dress doesn't fit her, but she claims it's because of the stress eating before the wedding. She also claims she threw his stocking as a symbol to leave childish things behind. He asks her to admit it was Angie at the ball, but Candace feels like he's accusing her. She claims this wedding in 2 weeks is stressing her out, which is why she's not acting like herself. She also asks him to understand that if Angie was at the ball, it doesn't matter because she doesn't love him. She justifies it by explaining that Angie is helping him plan a wedding with someone else. Nicholas asks Angie if she thinks he should get married. They admit they like each other, but Nicholas thinks she doesn't love him. He knows he can't trust her, but she can't trust him either. She has read a lot of things about him in the tabloids. He tries to explain that his past is not relevant, because he would be a different person with her. He even assumes she's been lying to him so someone in her family gets the inheritance. She thinks he doesn't know what he wants, because he wouldn't be standing with her one day before his wedding. In front of her parents' grave, Angie talks to them about how she tried to be grateful for everything she had. She admits she was scared to accept how magical the night with Nicholas was. She feels she has lost everything and misses them. Candace is already dressed as a bride, and Victoria comes to ask if she has seen Nicholas. Victoria admits she didn't like Candace at first, but she has noticed a chance with Nicholas. She feels it must be because of Candace, and welcomes her to the family. Candace shouts at Angie for being late, and asks her help with the microphone. When Laura and Robin watch Angie finally standing up to her, they run outside. Nicholas had thought Angie would admit the truth if he didn't cancel the wedding. He thinks she doesn't love him because she's letting him marry Candace. Laura and Robin ask someone to turn the mic on, and everyone at the party hears Candace and Angie arguing. Candace admits she wasn't at the ball, but we'll have this wedding. Angie points out how, because of her, Nikolaus doesn't believe in love anymore. She also explains how Otto thinks Candace is working hard when she doesn't do anything. Angie feels Candace doesn't deserve to marry someone she doesn't love, and who doesn't love her. She also quits working for her. Candace locks her outside when she realizes Angie is going to confess to Nikolaus. He turns up to see Candace and claims he has a special wedding gift for her. He offers to turn down the inheritance so they can build a life themselves. He points out everything he was getting, and Candace thinks it's very stupid of him to do so. He is convinced she is not who she claims to be and calls off the wedding. Victoria seems very happy when she informs Candace that everyone outside heard both her conversations. Max opens the door for Angie, but claims Nikolaus has already left. Victoria wonders if Nikolaus was lying about giving up his inheritance. Victoria has decided to sign over the inheritance to him without a marriage, because she feels what he did that day showed good judgment. She is relieved he didn't marry Candace, but feels Angie is special. Nikolaus thinks it doesn't matter because she doesn't love him. Victoria points out that he hasn't confessed his feelings either. Candace apologizes to Angie and admits she was always jealous of her because she felt her dad liked her more. She wanted to achieve something by marrying Nikolaus so Otto would be proud. She still feels bad for being unfair, and they hand over the event planning business to Angie, since it's well-deserved. Nikolaus waits for them to leave. He admits to Angie that he didn't think she wanted to see him. Angie feels bad for lying to him because she was hurt and mad. He claims he figured out the truth himself, but got late because he was hoping Angie would admit it. They decide to work on their timing, and Nikolaus explains how all the women she read about in the magazine don't matter. Those women were all after his money, so he didn't know if Angie would accept him since she's different. He remembers the day in his study when she questioned if the mystery woman would want to be with him. It made him see the real her for the first time, and he kept noticing her after that. They realize they have a lot of things in common and admit that they love each other. He asks her to look inside her stocking and proposes to her with the ring in it. They get married in an intimate ceremony where Candace catches the bouquet.